Hey guys, welcome to this week's fishing report and whatever else I want to talk about, because sometimes it's not even a fishing report. so, so I'm going to get started right away here. But first, before I do that, I brought back the podcast and I had put it on hiatus for a little bit. I've been doing my podcast for almost 7 years, so it's been a journey. I've met some really great people along the way. And I just absolutely love it. So the format's changing a little bit. We're doing something a lot of fun that I've been wanting to do for some time. So I feel it's perfect timing, especially in today's society when it comes to fishing. So there's a lot of hardworking captains out there, and these guys don't really have a lot of time for social media. They've been doing it for many years. They don't have time for YouTube. These guys are working guys. But what I found out over the course of the years is that these guys, when they do get called for an interview, for an article like, let's say in Florida Sportsman Magazine or Saltwater Sportsman, they really do provide some great tips. Okay? So a lot of people are trying to say that print is dead. Listen, if you think print is dead, then you just keep doing that, because the guys that are reading the print and really know where to find this stuff are going to excel. And they're doing that right now. So when you go and watch a YouTube video, sometimes you got to wait, and you're going to sit through all the drone shots and all the pretty pictures and all the slow motion stuff, maybe to get one tip that's probably been regurgitated 15 to 20 times, like times 50. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going back through my library and I collect saltwater fishing publications. I've been doing that forever. Since I was a young kid. So what I'm going to be doing is I go back through these publications and current publications, and I'm picking out one of my favorite articles, and from those articles I'm going through and selecting captains that have provided really good tips and highlighting their charter experiences and what they've done. So I just finished up the first round, and if you want to know who the captains are that were selected, go ahead and you can tune into the podcast, and that's available through our Patreon site, Spotify, and iTunes. So, and also on goodkarmasportfishing.com, we have a podcasting page, and you can go there and take a look and go back through the history of the podcast. Some of them are quite interesting. There's always layer tips in there, no matter how my rants go. So anyhow. So that's what the podcast format's going to be for a while. Yeah, super excited. And so let's move into the fishing. Now, I hope the guys that listen to me and book their trips around the new moon to go dolphin fishing, absolutely, it was it was phenomenal. So you had the first really good push of schoolies and some bigger dolphins piled in on the new moon, like I said they were. So, and a lot of guys have been listening to me for over many years, and when I give a prediction, it's, most of the time it's right, but when I gamble, I lose, so I don't gamble anymore. So my predictions when it comes to other stuff, I don't do any of that. But, so anyhow, so the new moon brought a healthy migration of schoolies. There were like days when guys were just going out catching 30, 40 fish in 300 feet of water to 250. Easy living fishing, I call it, easy living, and then they go do something else. So, but yeah, it was really healthy, like 24 inches to the fork, some 30 inches to the fork, and there were a few bigger fish caught on debris, but the best fishing came blind trolling as you get right outside the weed. So you put those baits down. I don't know. Everybody's like, "How deep?" I was like, I just look and see if I start seeing flyers and 250 or 300 this time of year, the baits go out. I feel that either a blue and crystal sea witch, or honestly, the best thing you can do right now is just go and troll them naked. So naked ballyhoo off the riggers is going to get you tight. Because a lot of times, I use a lot of sea witches, but a lot of times those fish, when the baits drop into the water, they'll come up on it, they won't eat it, because that sea witch will spook them. So, but then you go with a naked ballyhoo off of, and then it fires them up. So you got to figure out if they're really spooky, go skirtless, I say, or If they're not so spooky, then you can get away with putting a skirt over the top. So you got to just, you know, figure it out. So they're eating the bigger ones you're going to catch on rig ballyhoo or on debris, or if one swims up to your boat while you're bottom fishing or sword fishing, and then you're a hero with a 50-pounder. And I like luck. I like that. I like when they swim up to the back of my boat. That's the best. I had a couple wahoo swim up to the back of the boat once, and I actually thought that I had them on, because usually when I see a wahoo swim up to the back of the boat, I'm like, and by the time I went to go get the gaff, the free gaff him, he was already gone. So anyhow, okay, so we're going to move a little bit faster here. So we've got the we had some really good mutton snapper fishing. If you guys want to see what we've done over the past couple of weeks, I do not post as I catch fish, so I do that purposely for my clients, so they're not harassed by other boats that come up on us. So I spread everything out for folks. So, but you can get caught up with what we've been catching at Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL_Keys on my Instagram. And then the yellowtails, we had green water today, really hard southwest current. So what happens is, if when you had like a 1.5 mile an hour current, and then you add a 10 to 15 knot southwest wind, you got an escalator. You can almost count on 4 to 5 miles an hour of current just outside the reef, depending on where that what's happening there, what your surface current's doing. We fished it today. It was tricky, but we did. The fish that we caught were all quality fish. We caught. Joey was with me, and one of my new clients, and he caught his very first mutton today, and it was 31 inches on his very first mutton. You know how long it took me to catch a 31-inch mutton? A long time, myself. So that's. I told him to stop at the Circle K and buy a lottery ticket. So, but yeah, he did amazing. Fought a tough current today, and the fish that we caught were monsters, really big fish. So the tuna bite was on fire. Like the tuna bite on the new moon was you know, every year end of May, Memorial Day weekend into June is always good. So if you guys are coming, like the spawn starts and around this, then you add in that new moon, you had a hard east current, and the fish just absolutely went crazy. We were catching them on, you know, I always make jokes because I'm not really into targeting. When I'm targeting a fish, I'm not into, you know, targeting tunas and stuff. I'm focused on the bottom fish. So when we are catching tunas while we're bottom fishing, they mess up my bait. I always joke about it, and then they make a really bad decision because the tackle that we use allows us to kick a 30-pound tuna's butt in very short order. So it's, or a big tuna, 20 to 30. We just, you know, we use big stuff because there's a reason why we do that, is because of the sharks. The days of reeling and pumping are over on my boat. I don't allow it when we go mutton snapper fishing. Various reasons. You know, I like to reel and pump, but when you're reeling and pumping, you're turning that mutton snapper into a lure, and he's bleeding, and there you go. It's only a matter of time before don't say his name or he will appear. So I'm not going to say his name because I'm fishing. I don't want to deal with him, but never say his name. Okay. Yeah, coming up, we'll have the full moon coming up, and you'll have a good bite of dolphin coming up to it. And we all know that the full moon, I like to go fishing on the full moon for dolphin, because usually in South Florida, the first thing I learned when I came down here is that the dolphin never bite on the full moon. So the folks that were coming down here from South Florida to the Keys, all of a sudden I was like, well, nobody's here this weekend. Why is it? Oh, it's a full moon. Nobody comes down on a full moon to go dolphin fishing. I was like, okay. So it's just like, you got a good kick out of it. So, but if you get some good live baits, you're gonna get tight. I've had my best fishing on full moons for dolphin, so I'm hoping to get out there on this June moon, but we'll see. Like I said, it just depends on, if the quality of fish is there, I'll go. If the quality of fish is not there, then I'm not going to do it. So clients want to go catch groupers and snappers, great big nice healthy fish, and versus running out to go catch dolphin. I've just had a lot of clients complain over the course of the years about it. And I really take their criticism seriously when it comes to dolphin fishing. So when we do go, before we go, we sit down and we have a conversation about, hey, this might be the average size. It may not be all that what you think it is, and most of the time they thank me. But then I get some other clients like, oh man, we had a great time. We went out, we got the cast to them. We'll take poppers out there and try to make it a little bit more fun with some light tackle. Get them behind the boat, and then you can kind of pick out. And then maybe if you get lucky, you'll see a couple big ones swim up, or we'll find a pallet and a magical piece of debris. Oh my God! Find that magical piece of debris. I think that's all I got right now. I'm not going to get in. We got mangrove snappers are going to start biting on the new moon next month. So they started biting today a little bit. The water's a little green. We have good current. And that's another thing. When you get that nice green, I like that green water. The groupers like it. The snappers like it. And yeah, they just go nuts. So like I said, we got the mangroves will start sliding in next month. They've already started sliding in, so that's going to happen. And yeah, I don't know, dolphin is, when you got good water and you see some birds, keep every bird honest. That's all I got to say. You're going to find them outside the reef, and people will tell you that they're going to be in on this day and that day, but really honestly, you just go out there. If the water looks good and you got time, then just throw the baits out and troll. There's no weed, because you're going to pick up the bigger fish on your way out, and they're going to be in pairs. The best story I have, and I'm going to kind of start wrapping up, but I had this story that we had been traveling, and it was super it was one of those years when it's dolphin fishing started to get a little tougher, and so I was taking a late trip, and this was in the middle of July, and the dolphin fishing had sucked. It's like the fish weren't around. It was back when it was getting really hard. Like all the fish started getting a lot smaller, so there was something going on with it. So, anyways, came into the marina late that day, and I saw a couple of tourists. I think they were from France. They had rented a boat, so I was walking to the tackle shop, and these guys lifted out a 50-pound bull and another 40-pound cow. And I was like, they couldn't speak any English, so I was pointing. I was like, where did you catch that? I was like laughing. I go, where did you catch that? And they go, at the yellow thing, like yellow thing. And I go, there's only one yellow thing out there. It was the Conch Reef submarine, like back the research center there. And I was like, okay, so it's July. And everybody's like trying to find these fish, and I went out that afternoon, and sure enough, in the middle of the heat, bright, like when they're not supposed to be in that close, they were in on the reef, and we ended up catching like a 30-pounder and a 40-pounder that afternoon. And then the next day we went out, we caught another 20-pounder and another. It was just, and then after that, everybody found out that they were in close, and then a few other guys picked them up, and then all of a sudden it was done. But that just shows you that like that kind of stuff can happen. It's fishing, and I know a lot of people hate to hear that word, but I'm just going to say it anyways, because it's fishing. So just when you get little bits of intel, which I like to give through the podcast and through some of the groups that through the rigging crew, and we've got the new Angler's Edge. We just finished up our first meeting there. Awesome group. We went through and covered how to find super small, different stuff. I showed them some really small spots and then how to read them, and some other stuff that I can't tell you, but because it's really good, that's why. So I want to give a shout out to Mike in the Angler's Edge. Mike is a recreational fisherman. He comes down down here like in the months of on vacation for a couple long weekends. And he smashed the big mutton snappers using what we've taught him in the group. He smashed them, like big ones. And he didn't have any current. It was the middle of the day, and the pictures that he sent me were just, I was like, I get so much, when guys that I've taught over the years, like, and that really put in the work, like Mike has, and he puts in the work. He does a lot of homework. He like really does it. He booked a trip with me last winter, and he saw how kind of like I applied some things, and he stayed in the groups, and he just kept going, and then now he's just doing very well. So shout out to Mike for doing that, man, and I appreciate you being in the groups, and keep on doing your thing. So so now I'm going to wrap it up. So I do have, before I've got 3 tiers. I've got the free Patreon group. We've got the rigging crew, awesome group. We do a monthly video, and then we have a follow-up. And in that group, that you can meet guys, and if you're looking to come fishing with me, you can like meet some guys in there, and then you can, you know, book a trip with me as you guys get to know each other. And that's a good way to do splits within my group, because that way you know, and I know people. So I don't do splits, but I do splits with people that I have in my groups, because I know that they're going to get along, and they know how I fish, and that meshes really well. So versus random splits. Melinda and I were on a split in Cancun. It was the absolute worst experience that I've ever had fishing, and it was rotten. Never again will I be on a boat with somebody I don't know, ever. So, because it's been horrible. And yeah, and I don't really care if people make a living off of splits, but that's your decision. So, and how you run your business, I don't care. I run my business differently. I don't do it. So, because of the experiences that I've seen, I've had lots of crazy shit. So anyhow, we've got the and then we've got the like I said, I got the Angler's Edge group. We do that once a month, and we got the lesson that comes out. That's a live Zoom call. So they'll have the lesson, then it's about finding areas, and I'm teaching them how to find areas. So, and that's what I do. I constantly hunt. So, and if I don't, then I'm not happy myself. I like to do that more than sometimes I like to catch the fish itself, for me, when I go fishing. So, okay, and then I got the Good Karma Sport Fishing Club. That's next tier stuff. So, and if you're a new captain, or if you're thinking about coming down here to Keys and want to learn how to run a business like I do, and if you're having some issues that you want to learn how to improve upon, then you can contact me for a consultation, and then we'll send you the info. And I don't only serious inquiries only, so because it's not cheap. So and I don't want to deal with that stuff. So I want people that are serious and they want to get better and catch fish. So and run a successful business. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.